Hey, Marathon Watchers. In case you missed Brandish before, you're in store for another helping. Okay, so let's start this up, do the introduction, then I'll talk about the category. And start. Okay, so here's Brandish. You start by going into the options to turn up game speed. And pick a color. Let's go with purple. So the big thing is the camera. It's rotating like 90 degrees every time that I turn the character. And you can tell that I'm turning because Varric is going to turn his head for a frame. And that's just the indicator that I'm going to spin the world. Down here is secret area, and it's where I get the warp magic. Okay, so camera, very important. There is a lot of warping, but this isn't warping right now. This is just camera. And this is just tutorial floor. I'm picking up the keys and the hammers so we can explore this dungeon. Not the best menuing, because I keep going back to my warp when I don't need it right now. Okay, so this category is no major glitches, any %. And it's just it's a pretty honest looking speedrun. You get your items, you kill your enemies. It has a couple, like not even minor glitches, there's a couple quirks of the game that get abused. There is one minor glitch, at least. You get to stand on pits. That's a fun one. But it should be pretty followable, other than the camera. You just pick up the overpowered items and beat the game. And in this case, that is the invisibility potion. So about halfway through, I'll get invisibility potions to talk about that. Right now I'm just running around. Trying to finish each floor as fast as I can. This floor is full of pits. There's usually like indicators on the walls for where to use the hammer, and on the ground where there's pits. Those are fake pits though. Not really sure why those are marked. Maybe it just indicates the path of the rock. I just got a dimensional box, and that's inventory capacity. Okay, now here's a bit of story development. We find Alexis. In the English release of this game, the girl is Alexis and the guy is Varric. In the Japanese releases, it's Dela and Ares. Okay, so the story is Ares, Varric. You can try to call him Varric, but might forget. Varric kills Dela's teacher in some past event. That's bad. Okay, let's reset this. been so long since I missed that. I forgot that those are just arrow traps. And some of them are even duds. Okay, anyway. Varric killed Dayla's teacher. And the reason for that is explained in Brandish 3. I don't think I'll talk about it because Brandish 3 hasn't been fan translated, so I don't really know the whole story. And so they were just fighting at some point and happened upon this underground castle kingdom. Ow. You get anti-aired by these. Which is not fun. So that's the story so far. There's just an explosion and now we're underground and lost. There's some platforming. There's more puzzles than platforming, and there's more RPG combat than puzzles. Ruins 5 it's one of the more interesting floors. This section here with all the monsters is great for losing time. This area in particular, because they can stack up and it becomes really hard to get by. But this is a big platforming floor. There's not usually a whole lot of platforming. And then here is a task strat that was adapted for the speedrun. Let's see if I get it. Okay, so that's a 6-frame jump each time, so it's not too bad. But if you miss it early, you die. If you miss it late, you just fall in the pit. So there's a task of this game by the Fat Rat Knight. And there's a lot of strats that we were able to take from him, from that. And just put in the speedrun. At this stage, I can't fight any enemies. They have too much health and do non-zero damage. And I don't have a weapon. I don't know if you noticed, but I dropped my sword at the very start of the game. That graphic glitch is pretty hard to get. I always try for it. Usually don't get it. In. Okay, now this is a teleporter maze, and all the rooms are designed to look like each other. So it's pretty cool casually. And teleporters are always kind of fun. Teleporter mazes are fun for finding the best way through. Like once you know where everything goes. Whenever I bring up the map, I'm using warp magic, if that wasn't clear. Like, and when I put my hand over the warp magic. I guess one of the concepts for this game is that you have let's play a little better. One of the concepts is you have like the hand turns into things. it turns into a magnifying glass. So the hand is pick up, inspect, and drop. That's kind of like, what's it called genre? Point and click adventure, something. Yeah, it sounds right. Did I go the completely wrong way? Oh, wow. I went into that room and just turned around. I wonder I was confused. So I dropped the sword because I want to fight the dwarves with fist. The experience system is use-based, so I get more uses of fist if I kill them slowly. And raising arm strength increases damage. There's effectively two kinds of AI, aggressive and more of a passive thing. Frogs are aggressive and they'll chase you down across the floor. Dwarves wander around randomly until you're right next to them, and then that's when they turn to hit. Whenever you are in range to be hit by an enemy, then they'll turn to face you. And so that's the main AI manipulation going on. So if I ever run up behind an enemy and then jump over them, then that's safe because you know they're going to turn around first. And while they're turning, they can't attack. Hey, look at this. We're doing old strats. So in the glitch category, you would go over to that corner, but I wasn't supposed to do that. But it is also part of one of the older routes, one of the older paths through that room. It's probably just as fast. Just haven't done it in a long time. Here's the Ring of Ice. I don't know. There's a couple kinds of magic. It's like 7 about types of magic in the game. And I use warp a lot, I use double a lot, and this ice ring is the other one that I'm going to be using. And the ice ring is for the boss coming up. So the boss is going to make some clones, but only the real one can be affected by anything. So I'm going to hit him with this freeze, and that's going to desynchronize him from the others. Roguelike? No. Everything's set in place. I'm also going to do something funny looking right here. I'm going to slow down game speed. And that's because attack animations are not tied to game speed. This one. Or they're loosely tied to game speed. It's kind of weird. So by slowing down game speed, I can get in an extra attack every attack that I do. This boss is pretty RNG. The safe strat is to sit against the wall here. The fast strat is to stand in the middle of the room. Just dodge everything. So that's a pretty good fight. The 2 cycle is what you're looking for from your arm strength levels. And it feels like I'm getting better at it, so it might be worth cutting down. Kill fewer dwarves. And here's a follow-up boss. The eggs spawn little minions. And they can either damage me or heal the boss slightly. There's 2 ways to fight the boss. You can either run away, and usually he chases, so you just keep hitting him. Or you can attack and then block. Or I guess it's block and then attack. They're both valid in this version. In Japanese, you can't do the block strat because it's not safe. I guess to expand on that, the Japanese version has longer attack animations. It's actually very interesting how the Japanese version of this game, it has a lot of changes that you can see in the speedrun, but they all the changes like even out time-wise. So the times for both playthroughs are very similar. I think Japanese is slightly faster, but it's also a harder run. So it's hard to like grind out good RNG and still finish the game. So right now English has the faster finish time. I guess that the main reason for that is because I started on English, and so I put all the practice and routing into this one first. And it wasn't until more recently that I started playing Japanese and timing everything out. So I said that attack animations are different. Text is a lot faster on Japanese. Cutscenes are faster, and you can do a couple minor glitches. Taking a lot of damage. Yeah, there's some minor glitches, so you don't need to do as much grinding, and you can skip 2 of the cutscenes, even. But the slower attack animation somehow balances everything out. So right now I'm trying not to use my sword because it's only 4 uses. And 3 of those uses are set aside for an archer later. So I'm gonna depend on dodging and not drop my health potions. I'm still using those. Right there was inventory management. It's faster to drop something and pick it up again than it is to rearrange my inventory. And my main inventory is full. So if I pick something up with a full inventory, it goes into my dimensional box, which is the expanded inventory. One short once again. This room has branching paths. I could have kept going the other way, but you have to kill a room of archers. And it's really dangerous. Optimally it's faster. Except I also don't have enough weapon durability. Need to talk about weapon durability at some point too. Right now, beetles. Beetles, why are you like this? This is pretty rare. Let's go here, I guess? It's pretty rare that he's completely blocking you in. And I don't have a way to kill him. I could kill him with Fist. Oh yeah. And because I used Warp, I lost all my mana. Warp costs a full mana bar. There's a lot of just dodging enemies in this game. And I'm only trying to kill like the experience efficient ones. And that's usually at the top of every tile set. So I want that. That's a sword for the boss. I want that in main inventory. Here I'm gonna jump the thief. So it used to be that we would... I think we fire magic the thief first to kill him. Yeah, because that was safer. Because if you freeze the thief and then get a level up, then you don't get by. And then I found out you can just jump really well and you make it by. This trick's pretty cool. There's a teleporter tile right in front of me there. And you're supposed to go through the maze-like floor. Every floor is maze-like. And hit a switch, turn that off. It's kind of... it's a you thought you made it through the maze, but there's actually more type deal. This part's tricky. So I have to go through this blind false wall. And the archers one-shot me. So that's why I need that invisibility potion. And then I pick up 5 more. Yeah. Invisibility at this point is just so they don't attack me. Yep. This game's adapted from the PC 98. So it has a couple PC-like controls going on. And that's why all the tiles are like real blocky. And this game does in fact have SNES mouse support. But I've never tried it. Like when you're using warp here, you get the cursor. Just a throwback to PC-like origins that this had. then it was remade again a little while ago for the PSP. Ow. I just put on better armor, so that's why I survived. More invisibility. So the camera in this, it rotates real fast, and in the PSP version, they slowed it down. So PSP, it's more casual friendly, I guess, with how slow the camera spins. So it's a little easier to follow. But they also, they nerfed a lot of things while they were doing that. Invisibility potions and hardening potions. I think double, and barrier. So they were all nerfed in PSP version. Plus there's a use time on items. So the speedrun is not that fun for PSP, except for the extra levels. They added 10 extra floors for like expert difficulty, and they're a lot of fun. But like the speedrun for this is under an hour. And on PSP, it's like 2.5 hours, I think. Something like that. That's because of all the changes involved. And you attack slower. It's just slower all around. So in Ruins, I killed dwarves for arm strength. In Tower, I'm just gonna kill the boss. I have a broken sword on. That's because this damage doesn't matter at all. The damage amount is like arm strength plus weapon minus defense, with some RNG in there. So if I have low arm strength, then I'm doing 0 damage, right? So I have to raise that first, and then I can put on this weapon. This has been a pretty bad boss fight. They keep turning. That's probably good. Yep. Attacking them head on is risky, because they can attack faster. Okay. I was at that for a little longer than I should have been. Then on the PC 98 version of the game, the turn speed the same, but you can turn the game speed like way up, so you're going twice as fast as this. So that's what makes that version fun to play. And that's how I go through Brandish 3. Turn game speed to max and hope to not take 10 hits in a second. Okay, Now we're into the dangerous floors. Starting at cave, the game gets a lot harder. That's not the button. I forgot to switch my sword. But you're sort of timed at the start of this floor. You have to make it to that gate before the bats show up. Because bats are really deadly. So I'm kind of watching their flight paths, but they also go really fast. Nine's not too bad, there's only 2 bats. But it does have this room of wandering. There's 3 bats. I keep forgetting about Hero Bat here. Got him. That bat's kind of tricky because he has a wide room and he's all on his own, so you can't spend any resources to help. Here's Room of Wandering. The game rotates randomly at every intersection. And if I were smart, I'd look at the compass, but instead I learned to look at the tiles. So I just watch how the tiles spent. Do a safety menu to health potion. Okay, no bats this time. Cave 8's probably the hardest floor. Not for that reason. Let's load the right file too. Whatever. That was early on, so it's fine. So these bats are what make this hard. Then there's another bat here. Now I have to watch to see if he respawns, because his respawn point is pretty far away. No. I got this bit. I have to walk into the room a little bit so that the invisibility lasts to the door. Good kills. So I didn't need to use one up there at all. Invisibility, it makes it so enemies don't attack me, and most attacks, but not all, pass through instead of doing damage. It's like only red fireballs that still do damage. And even then, not all red fireballs. So we're through Cave 8. The next one to watch for is Dark Zone 2. That's the other hardest floor. But I get to do shopping before that. But basically, as I go deeper into the game, I'm going to be at a relatively lower level and have worse equipment. It's too fast. This is a cool strat, but sometimes it fails. you can't walk backwards too fast. And you can't walk backwards too slow. So you just gotta feel it out. The game saves every floor transition. I'm gonna kill this guy. Plus, you can't tell what he's doing once I'm in that room there. So it's always helpful to find him. Okay, it's time to green levels again. So I start with that sorcerer, because free experience. Wizards don't attack unless you're at range from them. Except for the sorceress has a close range attack too. Here's the shop. I'm gonna buy invisibility potions. The thing about shops is you have to skip all their text manually. So you do that by pressing right or left on the D-pad. And so that big block of text that keeps coming up is what I'm skipping. Otherwise you have to sit through it. I'm done here. There. So I want 6 stacks of invisibility to get me through the next 4-ish floors. This dimensional box. I don't know if I used it yet, but here's what it looks like. Just expanded inventory. And here we get another cutscene with Alexis over these hard-to-see spike traps. So this would be something you could skip on Japanese. There's also a New Game Plus glitch, and you can do that in English version. It's one of the few glitches you can do. But I ruled it as major because to get anything worthwhile out of it, you'd have to do major glitches. So New Game Plus glitch lets you skip a lot of like dialogue triggers and story triggers. So you can do that to complete all of your side quests, or even main quests. But to not get stuck, because you have to get past some main quests to get to later points, you would have to do major glitches. So New Game Plus is not allowed. Just grinding arm strength here. This room's like the Cave of Greed or something. You have to close all the chests for the doors to be unlocked. But if you open all the chests, you can get... the first chest is locked, so you can open that if you open all the other chests first. Slow down game speed just because the ninja is crazy. There's also an attack animation thing. Because I wouldn't be able to attack and move if he was on fastest. was a good fight. So the strat is just keep him in the corner. If you don't have invisibility potions, or I guess even casually you could figure it out that his AI will always run in front of you, so you can just sidestep him. And so that's another safe way to fight him. One of these times I'm gonna pick that other file. Yeah, there's optional content in this game. There's whole floors dedicated to it. I'm just trying to go through as fast as possible. Okay, that was real scary. Clipped into that squid, so that worked out. Squid shoot fireballs. Okay, this is the hard floor. This floor is a big maze, and there's pits everywhere. I didn't see that bird at all. So there's pits everywhere, and they drop you down to the lower floor. And so you have to reclimb from the lower floor to get back up here. Where are the birds? What are they planning? Don't see them anywhere. So enemies have a spawn point for when you first enter a floor, and a spawn point for your second and future trips. And the birds on their second spawn are always in the back half of the level. So it makes it a bit harder. Because if you bump into a bird, then you lose your jump and fall right in a pit. But that didn't happen today. Space has been pretty good. 2 or 3 deaths, I guess. You can get through deathless. Saveless, deathless is what the record's on. That's a 56:49. Typically I die at least once. It's pretty hard not to die anywhere. And then 1 death is still sub-hour. So we get to multiple deaths. That it adds up. Shopping's not complicated. Just buy invisibility potions. I also got some health potions for a arrow trap coming up. But I didn't even have to buy those health potions. Because there's some you can pick up right next to the arrow trap. But it's a little faster to get them from the shop. Dark Zone and Fortress is where the game gets completely unfair. So if you're playing blind, it's really hard. stack all this up. And I carried my keys from the ruins, and I get to use them here. There's not actually any small keys on this floor. You have to backtrack quite a bit to find small keys. And here's the ninja boss. He almost locked me in. It hasn't happened yet, but one day they're gonna pin me into the acid traps. That was a good invisibility. I would have died. Okay, so harden up the sword. There are unlimited durability weapons, but they're typically at a lower level than the best weapon, the best current weapon. Oh. I lost invisibility early there, so he had a chance to hit me. Invisibility is... it's not quite a set amount. Like, it gives you a duration, but how fast it fades is variable. It depends on what your character's doing. So if you're being really active, then it slows. You lose invisibility slower. But if you're just standing around, it fades really fast. Let's do the safety invis first. So you can see that part of the map is gone here. That means there's eraser eyes in the area. Because that's another mean thing the game does. It erases your map. See if I can get this kill. Good. Eraser eyes are a good experience. There. Put those mana potions in a better place. The pits do more than my max health, so I'm going to use Rings of Life to get over them. So I checked that I had one before I jumped. They don't work from the dimensional box, only from main inventory. There's the new set of keys. Yeah, this floor gives you all the resources you need to finish the game from. Sure hope that's the solution. No. Let's see, where's it? Here. There we go. I didn't jump was the problem. This section, I'm just hitting switches that are kind of hard to see with the camera, the way it is. A lot of what makes Fortress hard is the camera. I need to harden up. So if you don't know where things are, then you kind of have to just spin your camera a lot to find the things on the walls. I think I need to use one more hardening. And then I get to upgrade to the next sword. The route... right now I'm killing a lot of things because I want levels. Levels give me max health, max mana, and luck. Max luck. Let's activate that luck right now, actually. Okay, I do have a ring out, so I'm going to do a glitch this way. So I'm going to die while holding jump. That puts me on top of the pit. And I can just open the door. And that skips most of the level. Now I'm at the boss. So throughout, I'm mostly getting levels. The arm strength is nice, but it's actually the luck stat that I need. Because that's how the lobsters move away from the door. Can't get in the room if they're guarding the door. $200 health each. Okay, that's the lobster dance. It's been a while, so the camera it spins when I tell it, but it rotates like instantly 90 degrees. And to a viewer, that looks like the game is just jumping around two unrelated tiles, or unrelated parts of the map. But it's all the same part of the map, just drawn a different way. So like, I'm not warping anywhere, I'm just turning a lot. And can't beat the game without turning, so... gotta do it. So the 4 stats are arm strength, magic resist, intelligence, and level, plus armor. Defense, you get through armor, but that's not really a stat. You can teleport on top of enemies, because enemies don't show up on the mini-map, or the big map in that case. So the game doesn't know to check for them. So the main stats I'm focusing on are arm strength and level. Because level gives damage through luck. Luck is an oscillating variable that goes up to the max, then down to 0. and then back up to max. Up and down, up and down. And when your value is high relative to the average, then you do more damage. And the higher the value it's at, the more additional damage you're doing. And the lobsters have high armor, so arm strength alone isn't really good enough for lobsters. So I have to use luck bonus damage to fight them effectively. Because the arm strength level I do fight them at is pretty decent for... I guess it's pretty expected for when you get to the area, unless you're full clearing every region, killing every enemy. Which might be how the game is intended to be played. It kind of is how it's intended to be played, actually. You're sort of expected to explore everywhere and do everything. Do that. Fortress 5, 6, and 7, you switch between them a lot. It's like a 3-floored puzzle maze. But then all these keys you need are hidden behind false walls. This is best shield in the game, that's why this is hidden. So second use of level is max health, and I'm going to put that to use on the next floor. There's some arrow traps coming up that do 70 damage each, and I need enough health to survive that. That's 70 while blocking with the best shield and second best armor. Here we got the fireball jump. It's called that because originally we would just YOLO jump it. There's a 2-frame window to make it over the fireball. And there's no way to survive the damage. You could grind a few levels and then hope. And that actually worked like 30% of the time. But that wasn't quite good enough. So we researched it a bit more, and... Oh, there's the guy I gotta kill. Oh, he trapped himself in the corner for me. Here's the awkward part where I gotta kill extra things now. And it turns out you can just time a warp to skip the fireball. Okay, good. I want to get 2 levels from this floor. And we get to look at this damage variance and pray. But made it through. That's double magic. I do double damage before factoring defense. Do another death jump, or a pit walk, or a body slide. If there wasn't a wall there, you'd slide. There's not much to the story. We're just both just escaping, and we keep running into each other periodically. So this is why invisibility potions are so good. Because you're immune to the fireballs there. Get that back. I actually don't want that. I don't need magic potions anymore. So spells in this game are based on your magic, your intelligence level. Oh, but the only item I used to raise my intelligence was the ice ring on the wizard boss. So I'm still at the starter intelligence. And that means double here is free. I think it costs 2 mana. I think if you lower your level, it actually becomes free. The anti-stuck feature in this game lets you lower your level. So that's something you can do in a couple of categories. Beat the game at level 1. Yep, we got our Planet Blaster. On this fight, slowing down game speed makes it so I can attack him twice at every cycle. Completely random if, where the fireballs are at the start. So you can't get hit immediately. The circles teleport, spikes do physical. Red fireballs do 1,000,000 damage, blue fireballs do 70. Did that go through me? What happened? And the red fireballs bounce around. That was clipping through the circle. You can clip through anything in the game, anything that moves, if you just time it right. Red fireballs are a 1 or 2 frame clip, depending. Circles are pretty lenient. We're done. And one thing I never got around to mentioning is that the text boxes, like level ups, they eat your inputs and you have to manually cancel them. So it's a pain when you're first learning the category. Just something to keep in mind if you feel like playing Brandish. And the outro scene's pretty nice. That final boss is much harder on Japanese. It's really why English is easier to play, just from the final boss. But yeah, pretty good run. Not sub-hour. Sub-hour is the goal, but a little rusty. But there's lots of Brandish content out there if you want to look into the community, the games. A bunch of fan translations for 2. Brandish 2. 3 was started. 4 has a little bit of fan translation. But yeah. Lots of more content for games like this. And glad I got to show it off again. So, hope everybody enjoys the rest of the marathon.